We're supposed to learn from our own mistakes, but other people's errors can be instructive too. From efforts to control the weather that went disastrously awry, to the untimely death of the Segway boss, history is a treasure trove of mishaps and meltdowns that can teach us all. I'm Tim Harford, host of Cautionary Tales, the podcast that mines the greatest fiascos of the past for their most valuable lessons. Listen to Cautionary Tales on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Sonoro and iHeart's My Cultura podcast network present Princess of South Beach Season 2.
Did you miss me?
The new season of lies, scandals, and skeletons in the closet.
And I am proud to take office as your first openly gay mayor.
This season, it's all out in the open. Listen to Princess of South Beach on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Maya Shankar, host of A Slight Change of Plans, which Apple chose as the best show of the year. In our new season, we'll explore how the science of change can help us better navigate change in our own lives. And we'll hear stories from people like Ruby Bridges, who at age 6 became one of the first students to desegregate an all-white elementary school, and Christy Warren, a firefighter who saved others for decades before finally seeking out help for herself. Listen to A Slight Change of Plans on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm not drinking out of my
Jodie,
my inappropriate
Jodie,
mug.
I know.
Since you say I always have something offensive.
You do. Like I have to do a visual check of you every time we start these things. I'm like, okay, are you wearing offensive jewelry? Mug.
First of all,
shirt?
It's not offensive.
Well, okay.
Well,
true.
Sometimes it is.
To some
I do
people,
have
it might
a
be
penchant
offensive.
for. It's just but I do have a penchant for colorful language.
Yeah,
shall we say?
Of course.
But no, I'm not wearing anything offensive.
No.
Funny sometimes. Funny. Not offensive.
Random non sequitur. Our friends Kim.
That's how our brains work.
True. Our friends Kim and Mel, who we've discussed previously. So I'm in a book club with them. So I saw them a few weeks ago, and they were talking about how much they love our podcast. And they're like, the first comment they said was, "I can't believe Jodie hasn't dropped an F-bomb yet." They're like, "Did they tell you not to swear?" And I'm like, no, they didn't tell us that. Jodie's just very restrained.
No, they didn't. And I've just been trying. I've just, look, I'll get there. I'm trying to lead people in gently. You know what I mean?
I admire your restraint.
I didn't, I didn't want that to be the first note that everyone had. I wanted it to be somewhere more in the middle. So,
very smart.
I'll get there.
Smart planning.
I'm sure it'll come out. I'm doing a very good job to not be,
polarizing
myself. Yeah, no, to not, to just stick to the thing.
No,
Keep the jokes PG-13.
You've been very professional so far. I'm very impressed and proud of you.
It's so freaking hard. See what I did? I tried. Anyway, exciting news. Last night we went to John Stamos' 60th birthday party, which
did we ever?
Was so great. Well, I did for 20 minutes. No,
we left a little early just because,
Well, I
live very far away.
You live very far, and I'm just not. It's a lot of peopling for me. I get overwhelmed very easily these days.
And there were a lot of people.
And
there.
I also had a crazy weekend with Bee's birthday, so it was just a lot of being around people. But John's birthday was really fun.
It was great. Dave was there.
Gave speeches. Dave was there.
Dave
gave a speech.
Speeches with props, which we can't even talk about. We can't talk about because it's definitely not PG-13. So.
And Billy was front and center.
That's true.
For
5-year-old
Dave's
Billy.
speech about balls. I'll just say that. Dave wouldn't mind. He'd be very proud of himself.
Oh, he would. Yeah.
And he made lots of jokes. There was a character involved. It was a wonderful family speech that will always be remembered. Yes. And now he has a pillow also for Choppy, the character that Dave invented years ago. Anyway, super random, but it was really fun. I had a really good time. Lori was there.
Scott Weinger was there.
Scott Weinger was there. Candace was in Napa. But yeah, it was really fun. And of course, seeing everyone that we know, John's family and friends throughout the years. It was a really good time. I didn't take a lot of pictures though. I
was going to ask because I took one really poorly lit photo.
I have a cute one of you and me and Dave and Mike Binder.
Oh, okay, great.
That's really cute. I'll send that to you.
Okay, yeah.
And I think Dave got a couple.
I think
cute
Dave
ones
got
too.
the better photos, like more group photos.
Well, John's social media person got the best.
He got an earful.
Oh my god, just unhinged videos from the cast of Full House that made no sense and were so full of like inside jokes of 37 years of inside jokes and stupid references and things. And you're like doing them to someone who's like, are these people okay? Why are they saying these things? Who are these characters and these voices? And the guy was like, oh, John's going to love it. He'll just be totally confused. And all four of us were like, no, he won't. He'll know exactly what we mean.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
We're like, oh, no, he will completely decipher that insane language.
It'll make total sense. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. These parties, though, it's always like a little bit of a fever dream. Like just because you're surrounded by a lot of famous people and we're all dressed in 60s attire. That was the dress code.
Thing, right? We were all dressed. It was sexy 60s part. That was the groove with a Beatles cover band, Rain, the Beatles cover band, and then they all got up and played after. But everyone was dressed fairly ridiculously.
Oh yeah, great.
And
some people went all out too.
Like wigs, the whole thing. But then there were some people there. Remember, I leaned to you at one point and I was like, is that guy like in a costume or is that just who that guy is? And it was like someone with like kind of a long, like very long beard and long hair and a hat. And they could live in Topanga. Yeah. Or they could live, or they could be dressed as something from the 60s. I don't know. Either way, they were rocking it.
And we never found out who the Austin Powers guy, who was in character the whole night.
Oh my God. It's one of John's friends. It's one of John's friends, and I've seen him at a bunch of events and things. But he was fully committed. To Austin Powers.
Yeah. He looked like Tom Arnold, but you told me it's not Tom Arnold. I had to ask you who a lot of these people were.
It was not.
Okay.
But it does. Yeah, it's sort of I get a hint of that.
Okay.
Face. Yeah. From him, but yeah, no, it was a great time. I ate too much pasta, and then we couldn't go on the mechanical bull, which I was really
no. I told you as soon as you spotted that bull, you're like, you're going on the bull, Amy.
Yeah,
and I'm like, no,
man, I wanted it so bad. I really can't believe that we missed out on that moment.
Well, the kids were. Really sad. Billy was on the bowl for a while.
I'm sad that we didn't do it before we ate. That was really the deciding factor. I ate too much pasta, and then
I'm not. I don't have FOMO for the bowl.
Amazing. AB, come on. Billy was on it. John's son Billy was on it.
Well, not if
there
I
were
broke
children
my neck.
on it. They were. Yeah.
That's when I really felt bad. There were children on the bowl.
Well, I'm sure you could tell the guy, like, go children's speed, and then as soon as you got on it, I would tell him to ignore that.
Well, okay. Next time. I was wearing a dress, and you offered to lend me your pants.
And you were wearing a dress. That was part of your... I said, I will give you my pants. I will make you a pair of pants out of napkins if you will get on that bowl. I really, really, really wanted you to do it.
I know.
But then we were both like, oh, I'm really hungry. And then we went and got pizza and pasta. And then we were like, yeah, that jumping on that now is really terrible.
I'm very happy with how that all turned out because I didn't have to hike up my skirt and get on a bowl.
We'll have to go again. We'll just have to go again.
Deal.
Wait, what?
No. I don't know. I'm not committing to this yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna get you on that bowl, Andrea Barber.
Only if you go with me, although that's probably not allowed. Two people on a bowl.
2 people on a bowl seems like
it's a lawsuit.
But yeah, that is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Well anyway, hi. Anything else we want to say?
I mean, having only seen you last night, I'm surprised we had this much to talk about.
I know. I saw you 14 hours ago. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I sort of disappeared at one point and was just like, and bye. I hugged John.
We all did.
Yeah.
We all felt bad about leaving early, but we're like, oh, we're all leaving. Like Dave had to leave because he had an early flight today. And then you and I left early because I live far, and you left early because you were like, I'm done peopling. My people are leaving, so I'm done peopling.
Right, yeah, I was like, all of my people are leaving. So yeah. But anyway, it's been so lovely to get to see everybody, and we'll get to see everybody again for 90s Con in a couple weeks.
Can't wait.
So that's going to be
so fun.
Yeah,
so fun. Can't wait to meet some fans and hang out with you guys.
Yeah, actually, it's going to be when this airs. It will be, I believe, that weekend in Tampa.
Oh yeah.
So
wow, coming up quick.
This weekend we will be in Tampa. I mean,
yeah, I got to start packing.
Really? Pack that early? My mom does stuff like that. My mom will be packed 10 days before a trip. Meanwhile, it's like 10 minutes before, and I'm like, oh my God, did I put underwear in there? Okay.
Anyways, welcome back to How Rude Tanneritos. What a segue. I am Andrea Barber.
And I am Jodie Sweeten.
Today, we are discussing Season 1, Episode 7, titled Knock Yourself Out. It originally aired on October 30th, 1987, and it goes a little something like this. While broadcasting a national fight, Danny lets some information about the fighter's home life slip out that could get him in a lot of trouble. Ooh. Meanwhile, on the home front, Joey and Jesse worry when Michelle develops a cough. It was directed by Joel Zwick and written by Jeff Franklin.
All right.
And we've got some very cool guest stars on this episode. First up, Ernie Hudson as Reggie the Sandman Martin. Oh, he's a legend.
Legend, a Ghostbuster, first of all. And not only that, our second person from Ghostbusters.
That's so weird. Like, why are we poaching actors from Ghostbusters? I don't know.
I mean, it was the 80s. But Ernie Hudson, oh my gosh, like he was Winston from the Ghostbusters. It's amazing. It was one of my favorite movies.
He's so good as the Sandman in this episode.
He's great, really funny.
So good.
He was also in The Family Business, The Crow. I mean, so many things. Very well-known actor. But yeah, I actually forgot he was on the show until I was like, they, go to I'm like, oh my gosh, that's right. Yes, I remember this. Anyway,
yeah.
Very cool.
So cool. Very cool. Also guest starring Eddie Barth as Lou, who is the crazy coach.
Yes.
He's also known for Fame, the Men in Black series, and he does voices for films and series like Babe in the Big City and Superman, the animated series.
I mean, he's got a great voice. When you hear him in this episode, you're like, oh yeah, you've got to be a voice actor. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And then last but certainly not least, Brian Cale as the reporter.
Brian Cale!
Okay, we got to explain why we're so excited about this.
Right. Everyone's like, who is that? Brian Cale was our dialogue coach on Full House, who also popped up occasionally in an episode here or there, or sometimes would be like a voiceover announcer or whatever. And a dialogue coach is someone who basically does exactly what that sounds like, who kind of works on the dialogue with the actors. And, I actually have a question, AB.
Sure.
And maybe, are there I'm going to assume, are there dialogue coaches on shows without kids?
Oh.
Or is that just
That's a good question.
That just a kid specific? Because I'm trying to think of, like, any other shows that I've done.
I don't think I've done any other shows without kids.
Right.
I don't know.
Because I don't know. Anyway.
The dialogue coaches we've worked with primarily work with children.
Right.
But they work with us.
But they work with Gwen worked with all of us.
Gwen Victor on Fuller House, she worked with us.
Right.
Just as much as the kids.
That's true.
Well, I mean, we need a lot of help, though.
Right.
Jodie, read this.
But just read this. But dialogue coaches are extremely helpful. And Brian really worked with us as the kids a lot. I remember, when we would show up to rehearsal, Brian would have all of, at least for me, because I was a little bit younger, he'd have my pages pulled out of the script and stapled together so that I didn't have to hold a whole script because that was too unwieldy for my hands. But he would give us pages. And so we would have, Brian Cale had our pages and they'd be highlighted and whatever. And then he would work with us on all of that stuff. But anyway, the great and wonderful Brian Cale, our dialogue coach, plays the reporter in this episode, and he also pops up as a salesman and an auto or something in a couple of them. But he was also the dialogue coach on Webster.
Oh,
so, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh. And he's the one that originated Watch Your Diction. Remember, I talked about that, and I think in our first episode, watch your diction, enunciate.
Yes,
don't mumble.
Well, and he does a great job of enunciating his diction as a reporter. He really, if you listen, fabulous diction. He must have just been red
diction.
leather, yellow leathering all backstage. That's just yeah.
I haven't talked to him in ages. So
right, and you know what's funny? Well, it's not really that funny. I've set it up now, but his last name Kale now is like it obviously brings to mind the vegetable. In the 80s, did you ever think of kale when you heard his last name? No, because kale wasn't a thing. Nobody ate kale.
It wasn't popular. It wasn't a thing.
Nobody was eating kale. They were like, that's bitter and terrible. But now,
right.
But yeah, anyway, I hear his name now. I'm like, oh yeah, I like the salad. And back then, not even a thought. So
no. Yeah. Never even entered my consciousness back then. Kale was not cool, and now it is. So
I wonder if he hates it or loves
Brian
it.
Kale will always be cool.
Brian Kale will always be cool. Yes.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's start in Michelle's room, where Danny is holding Michelle and asks her to wish him luck because he's going to be color commentating for the big fight. He places her in the crib, and she reaches for a hug, and she says, "Dada," which is great because
what is color? Sorry, this is I'm hung up. What is color commentating?
I don't know. That was okay. That was in the original notes that we got, and I was like, oh, they must know what they're talking about. I don't know what it is. He's like the boxing announcer, right?
I know.
Is that what that means?
I don't know.
Let's see if there's a producer.
Yeah, no, I don't.
It's someone that is on the ground, and they go to him for small details.
Got it. Oh, to add color to the commentary. Got it. Okay,
got it.
I was confused. Okay, now that got it. Ta-da.
I was also confused and just thought I was the idiot, so I was hoping you would know.
No. I was like,
okay.
Wait, what? And now I get the use of the word color. I was like, is he? I mean, are we that new into color television? What's happening? Color commentating. Okay, got it.
Okay, so we know he's color commentating, providing excellent commentary.
Right. Yes, got it.
And Michelle reaches for a hug, and she says, "Dada," which warmed my little heart because all of last episode, Danny was trying to get her to say dada, and now she finally does. So I love that. Danny asks Michelle if she can promise to keep her cookies to herself if he picks her up, because he's going to be on camera for 20 million people in his clean suit.
God. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of pressure. Michelle giggles, and he reaches in to pick her up again when she burps. He grabs a towel and throws it over his shoulder as a baby dribble guard before picking her up for a hug goodbye.
Which is always a wise thing. I just, as a general rule in life, don't pick up a baby without a burp cloth, because that is the moment that they will puke on you. And also, as cute as it looks to hold them above your head, don't do it. Don't do it. No, not unless you want to get puked on. Just saying. Yeah.
Babies have excellent timing for knowing exactly the worst possible moment to barf or dribble or whatever.
Like doing color commentating in front of 20 million people.
Right.
Obviously.
Okay.
We're supposed to learn from our own mistakes, but other people's errors can be instructive too. And history is a treasure trove of mishaps and meltdowns that can teach us all. What happened when a zealous scientist tried to inject snow into a hurricane? How did the world's greatest illusionist trick his audience after he had died? Why did the inventor of Mother's Day try to take it all back? And how did we get the story of the Segway boss's untimely death on a Segway so very wrong? I'm Tim Harford, host of Cautionary Tales, the podcast that mines the greatest fiascos of the past for their most valuable lessons. Some stories will delight you, others may scare you, but they'll all make you wiser. Listen to Cautionary Tales on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Get your tickets now
at AXS.com
for our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Coming back to Las Vegas. 2 nights.
September 22nd and 23rd.
1 stage.
At T-Mobile Arena.
Streaming live. Only on Hulu.
This is the iHeartRadio Music Festival.
A weekend full of superstar performances.
Never seen before collaborations.
And once-in-a-lifetime moments you'll have to see to believe.
Don't miss your chance to see
Foo Fighters.
Fall Out Boy.
Kelly Clarkson.
Kane Brown.
Lil Wayne. Lil Durk.
Lenny Kravitz.
Miguel.
Public Enemy.
Sheryl Crow. Travis Scott.
Tim McGraw.
TLC.
30 Seconds to Mars.
And more.
Buy your tickets for our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival now.
Before they sell out.
At AXS.com.
That's AXS.com.
What's up? This is Big Loon. Check out my podcast, It's Up There. Each and every Monday, It's Up There podcast brings a conversation for supporters and business leaders of the culture. From the podcast, business, music, and entertainment deals, we have an in-depth dialogue with a level of understanding for everyone. Bringing you interviews from your favorites like Brandon Marshall, Lil Baby, Charlamagne the God.
Like imagine if Wendy was Wendy, right?
Man.
And she had this young protege named Charlamagne from South Carolina that she put her arm around, and then that person became
who he is.
Yes. Yo, there's nothing flyer than that.
Man, that's the most fly
like forget what you can grow a tree, but the illest thing is to have mad fruit from that tree.
From lifestyle insights to bridging that knowledge to money gap, we're your weekly dose of high-value entertainment. Laugh, cry, and soak in game with every episode. Join us on Monday. Listen to It's Up There podcast on the Black Effect Podcast Network, iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The next scene, we are in the living room where Jesse is writing a song on his guitar, but behind him, you can see that the alcove seems a lot more cluttered than usual.
Okay,
Joey has just added a lot of stuff.
I actually feel
space.
like my note, I noticed that it was cleaner than usual.
Oh, really? I thought it was. There's a cot in there.
There's always been a cot in there.
More planets.
There's
I think.
always been
more solar
there's
system.
always been planets in there. All of the planets are
But
there.
There seems like more.
The mannequin. No, there used to be boxes piled in front and like all kinds of stuff. But like it's there is like different stuff hanging. But I thought, oh wow, the alcove looked cleaner. So, but you think it looks messier?
I thought it looked a little more cluttered. Yeah, it just had more stuff in it, but maybe not. Maybe it just was more organized.
The planets have always been there. The cot's always been there. There may be some stuff piled on top of the cots, but
okay.
Maybe I'm just thinking of when he first moved in with all the boxes and stuff.
True. Okay, well, if you're listening to this, please write in and tell us. Do you think the alcove was more cluttered or less cluttered?
Right. Tell us. Right. This is like, is the dress blue or is it gold? Is the alcove more full or less full?
It all depends on your perspective.
It all depends, right?
So Danny enters from upstairs. He's still wearing this burp cloth on his shoulder, and he asks Jesse how he looks. Jesse asks if he's planning on burping one of the boxers. And Danny replies, a good sportscaster is ready for anything. Then Jesse says he figured out a tune to go with his new lyrics, and he asks Danny to listen. As Jesse sings, Danny bops his head as if it's a familiar tune, and then starts singing the lyrics to On Top of Old Smoky.
All covered with cheese. No, that's not how it goes. That's the like kids version, isn't
it? Close enough.
Yeah. On Top of Old Smoky, very underappreciated family campfire song.
Yeah. But Bob is such a great singer. Like I noticed this about him like through all of our friendship, but I don't think he gets enough credit for being able to carry a tune, and he sings so well. I know Jesse's known as the musical one, but Bob is actually really good.
Yeah, no, Bob was actually pretty musical. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dave was musical in his own way.
Well, yes. Musical notes.
Right. Musical fruits. But no. He definitely jumped in. And, what's a Full House episode without someone bursting into song at least once?
Right.
I don't think we've gone an episode without singing.
No. Let's start a running tally of all the musical numbers in this show. Oh. So Joey enters from the kitchen wearing a red plaid robe and oven mitts for boxing gloves, pretending to be a boxer. He starts joking with Jesse, pretending to smack talk and feinting punches at his head. Jesse stands up abruptly, and Joey apologizes, promising Jesse he will behave. Joey then subtly flicks him on the back of the head. Jesse tells Joey he's such a baby and stands up and flicks him right back and exits.
All I remember is when the two of them would do this, Dave would be like, "You do it so hard." Like it would, like Dave would do it, halfway, and then John would just smack the shit out of Dave, like just hit him, and it would be so funny because he'd be like, "I didn't even do it that hard." He's like, "Yeah, you did, dude. You really did.
You did. Yeah, it looks aggressive too.
Yeah, But it was just funny between the two of them.
Great banter between the. You can see that. You can see the real life friendship just shining through these characters.
I mean, even last night, and during Dave's speech, he said we became brothers. I mean, they were in their 20s, and he said we really did become brothers on that show. So it was neat to see. And it's funny going to John's 60th birthday last night and then recapping episodes where he's 24 and being like, "Oh my God,
it was
I
weird.
thought I was a baby at 24, but I knew you it's a trip."
Well, and I turned on the episode last night after we got home from the party because I wanted to watch it one more time. And watching this dynamic, the origin of this friendship, I was like, this is...
Yeah.
First of all, they're exactly the same. Like, they look
really
the same.
Are. Yeah.
They act the same. But yeah, they were so young. It's such a trip watching these old sitcoms. And watching the
two of them and then seeing them together last night. And it's pretty great.
Very, very cool. So Joey walks Danny to the door, telling him how proud he is after watching him do sports in their high school paper to now being on television coast to coast. So is this the first mention that Joey and Danny went to high school? Like, I know they were friends for longtime friends, but this might be the first high school mention.
It felt, I don't feel like that. I don't think that was mentioned before, that they were high school friends. So not at least not that I remember.
New to me anyway.
But this because I kind of went, oh wow, they've been friends that long. Okay, so it makes sense.
Makes sense.
Well, and then when I think we have a flashback episode at some point, and we do see I think Danny and Joey together in high school.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice. So. Can't wait for that one. Danny reassures Joey that his dream of being a comedian will also come true one day, and that Danny won't be the only one who thinks he's funny. Such a backhanded compliment.
Right.
DJ and Stephanie enter the living room from upstairs, and DJ's wearing an oversized pink sweater, and Stephanie's wearing an adorable blue sweater with cows,
with
black
cows.
and white checkers.
I actually so
cute.
I have a picture, like a headshot photo. I think I feel like that has that sweater in it. I just feel like I've seen myself in that sweater more often than just this episode.
Oh, okay.
But the cows on it and the little check print and the blue leggings.
Cute. The
leggings,
matching leggings.
Which seem very similar to blue leggings that I wear in a future episode where I break into dance in the living room.
Yeah, that's right.
But scrunch socks, blue leggings. I think I might even have yarn in my hair, actual yarn.
I wrote that down. Yarn.
Yeah, not even
real yarn.
Not even pre-made, glued onto a. Someone took yarn and was here, cut about 8 inches off, and then tie it in your hair.
It's straight from the Michael's Craft Store, aisle 17. They just grabbed a spool of yarn and put it in your hair.
Lime green yarn. Yep. The kind that you could only use once because then when you untied it, it fell apart again. Yeah.
Yes,
real
exactly.
1980s yarn, my friends.
So cute. Oh, man, I love this. DJ's carrying a wrapped present and tells Danny that they got him something for good luck. Guess what it is? And Stephanie yells out, a tie.
DJ says, still really terrible with surprises like that.
This is, you have not changed, Jodie. You have not changed.
But then the best is the next line when she goes, okay, Daddy, now it's your turn. You guess.
Yes. So Steph says that, Daddy, you guess. And Danny says, well, I give up. And Stephanie says, it's a tie. Remember? Just duh. Follow along, Danny. So Danny opens his tie and he loves it. And he says he'll wear it to the match tonight. And Stephanie says, I have a surprise for you too, Daddy, and hands him a gift box. Danny opens it, and it is, I don't know what this is.
It is a
ceramic
fish
it blob.
Was like a clay mold sort of a thing painted.
Okay.
I can't remember if I actually made it or not.
It looked childlike, so it could have been you.
It could have been. it could have been one of those things that they said actually like make, because they had us make drawings and stuff. If you look at some of the art in the kitchen that's tacked up on the walls. I don't know if there's any up there yet, but points over the season, they would have us draw pictures and color things. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that was the case with this. But I do remember it I remember the tie tack.
Oh, it's box. Huge.
Yeah.
For a tie tack, I was like, this is massive.
It is. Yeah, it's a tie. It's a weight. It's a kettlebell.
It's a paperweight. Yeah, is what it is.
Right.
Or a door stopper. So Danny opens it. He can't tell what it is, but he kind of fakes it. And he's like, oh, thank you so much, honey. This is great. Joey doesn't know what it is either. Right. So Stephanie tells Danny to try it on, and he tries to figure out where it goes or what it is. And seeing him struggle, DJ finally helps out and says, Dad, isn't that a cool tie tack? And Danny's very relieved that he finally knows what it is.
It's like when your kid hands you a picture and they're like, Mom, isn't this beautiful? And you're like, oh, yeah. That's
a thing that you did.
Yes. So, and they're like, it's you. And you're like, oh, is it? Oh,
you're like, wow. Should I be flattered or offended? Okay, I don't know.
Yeah. It's very abstract. Anyway.
Jesse comes back into the room with his guitar and a fresh new melody for his lyrics. He starts strumming and singing, and then everyone starts singing the lyrics to This Land Is Your Land as Danny waves and exits out the front door.
I was very into singing that, by the way. I remember loving the little burst into song.
Yeah, you and Candace had like genuine smiles on your face.
We were. Yep.
You were very into this song.
Give us a moment to sing. We were into it.
It was a cute, genuine, like funny family moment. Break into song. So cute. The next scene, we are in the kitchen, and Jessie is running around the kitchen grabbing snacks to watch the fight when DJ pokes her head in and says they're going to watch it upstairs. Stephanie pokes her head in and tells him, don't forget the ice cream. What follows is a hilarious physical comedy bit of Jessie repeatedly going from the fridge to the stairs over and over, grabbing new snacks as the girls keep yelling down more things for him to remember to bring upstairs.
I remember John doing that scene because, we were upstairs in that little, fake upstairs area that was sweltering hot.
Oh,
but we're up there, and I remember him doing, he would be doing the scene, and he'd drop something, so we'd have to start over, but I remember him with the bags of licorice in his mouth and that weird, I guess that's just what ice cream containers looked like. I don't know, but like, it was, not an obvious brand or whatever, but like that sort of purpley colored ice cream container and all, like, just I remember him going through that, and if he dropped anything at any point, like, he'd have to kind of back up, start over again. But it was my thought on that scene was like, what a great physical comedy bit. And I know John loves, Jerry Lewis and some of those Sid Caesar, like those great old comedians that did that very big sort of physical comedy. So he really did a great job with that in this.
Oh,
he
nailed it. He nailed it.
It's literally the whole scene is just him running around the island, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's a really funny moment.
It's great. And my favorite part is how you can tell there's absolutely nothing in the ice cream carton.
Right. Yeah. No, everything is completely empty.
Or the milk carton. Like, it's so, like, he puts it like upside down at one point. It's so empty and light. It's just like there's nothing in there.
Nothing in there. It's great. It's so and I remember what the first thought was when he grabs the black licorice. The first thing Steph goes, and the licorice, and he grabs black licorice, and I went, no, not the. I like black licorice, but I was like, not the black licorice, and then you hear the next line is like, and the red licorice, and I was like, yeah,
there it is.
There it is.
Yep, red licorice is definitely, in my opinion, better than black licorice.
But also, the scene ends with requests for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
And carrots.
And carrots. Are we just messing with Jesse at this point? We're just trying to torment him because there's no way that these children actually want peanut butter and jelly and carrots along with ice cream and licorice and cookies.
Maybe you didn't get dinner. Maybe the girls are hungry. And because Jesse and Joey forgot to feed them dinner, like that.
Okay,
this tracks in my mind.
Okay,
and so you want everything but the kitchen sink.
And who doesn't love a good PB&J? PB&J is a staple. So
it's nothing better to watch a fight with than PB&J.
It's true.
Carrots
and a side of fake ice cream. Right. Yeah.
Jesse's arms get fuller and fuller until he's completely weighted down by these snacks, and he finally collapses on the stairs, which is so funny. Next, we are upstairs in the hallway outside of the girls' room. And Jesse walks upstairs carrying everything that he's been asked to grab, including a 6-pack of soda cans that he's balancing on his head.
Which, ingenious, by the way. I was like, oh, that's okay.
That's great.
Never thought about that before.
Well, I mean, he could.
Next time I carry a 6-pack around, I'm putting it on my head. Just
balance it on your head.
Just to be like, why not?
Yeah, ingenious. Much easier than asking the girls to come downstairs and help him carry these things. Just balance things on your head.
Have you ever tried asking your kids for help? It absolutely is easier. I would rather pile 3 6-packs on my head and carry all that than ask them to carry something into the next room. The complaining that comes with it's a nightmare.
Good point. Yeah, not worth it. Easier just to do the balancing.
I've got it. Right.
The girls come out and say they've changed their minds and they want now to watch the fight downstairs. Jesse says, freeze, ankle biters. This is as far as your Uncle Lunch Wagon goes. To which DJ responds, ooh, it's Uncle Bad Attitude. And Steph tells Jesse, I guess this is a bad time to mention you forgot the carrots. That is such a great. Who writes these lines for you? Like, they're so funny.
It was not me. But yeah,
but your delivery is so spot on and hysterical.
I watched my diction. That's why.
That's why. See,
it's crucial.
It was right. Joey pops into the hallway and asks Jesse to come into Michelle's nursery. He offers to give Jesse a hand with all the snacks and then grabs 1 can off of the 6-pack, leaving the other 5 cans on top of Jesse's head. Just such a Joey move. I love it.
I wonder how many times it took them to do that, though, because the balance of the 6-pack, once you pulled one off, if it kept falling off John's head, I feel like that would have been a thing.
That would have been a thing, yeah. I'm sure it was multiple takes. The next scene is in Michelle's room where Joey tells Jesse that he heard Michelle cough and he thinks she's sick. Jesse picks her up and manhandles her awkwardly.
What are you
looking for?
What do you think is gonna
holding her upside down?
Right. It's not a salt and pepper shaker. You know what I mean? Like what do you think?
It was, we're only in episode 7. Like
that's true, right?
He hasn't quite learned all of the child rearing tricks.
Right. Yeah, he still yells at them about things.
So Jesse declares that she's cool and tells Joey to calm down. Stephanie comes in to let them know that Danny is about to be on TV right after the underarm commercial. Cute.
I mean, the fact that I knew that he was coming on right after that underarm commercial is pretty impressive. I was like, we've got to, bye Menon or whatever. And then that was like the 1980s one. That I still remember the brain space wasted.
Well, something.
But I was also going to say though, when Joey's like, I heard a cough and she's probably sick. I gotta say, I'm a little with Jesse where I'm like, bro, it's one cough. Babies, it calmed down. So
this is how 2 inexperienced men deal with a sick child. One is panicked, and the other one's like, what's the big deal?
But I was like, maybe he was looking for snot or something. I don't know, because she didn't seem to be very congested.
No, she didn't seem sick. It was just.
I mean, when you see a sick baby, it is everywhere.
There's like crust.
Oh God, it's just awful.
Yeah, and they just look miserable too. So.
Yeah, they do. She didn't look too miserable. I at this point, I'm still siding with Jesse and thinking that calm down, Joey. It's okay.
I can get on board with that for sure. But then we would have no episode if Michelle was fine. So
right.
Okay.
Well, right. I mean, but I'm just saying, like,
yes, of course. So Joey says he does not like the sound of that cough, and they should bring Michelle with them.
Shouldn't they bring Michelle with them anyway, considering that she's awake?
Right. And why would you leave a baby alone in a crib?
Yeah, while you're all
unless it was her nap time or something. But
yeah, maybe.
Well, I don't know. Jesse tells Joey to calm down. Again, babies cough, babies dribble, babies barf. They're like tiny teenagers. You know what? That's a good point. They are. Yeah.
It's true.
Jesse picks up Michelle and they all exit to the living room where the girls are on the couch with snacks. When Jesse and Joey enter, carrying Michelle, and she coughs again. Jesse asks the girl if they've ever heard that cough before. And Stephanie says, it sounds like a hairball. Jesse questions whether or not babies get hairballs when the TV announcer introduces Danny. Everybody cheers.
Yay.
And then we intercut between the living room and the boxing locker room. where Danny is introducing Reggie, the Sandman Martin, as he's getting hyped up in the locker room. Danny asks the champ why he came back after 2 years of retirement. The coach steals the mic and says it's about pride and respect, and the Sandman wants to be the greatest boxer ever. The Sandman replies, I really just missed wearing the shorts. Danny then pulls his blazer back to show everyone his Stephanie-made tie tack. And Stephanie, back in the living room, is filled with pride as he shows it off on television.
Well, and he's wearing DJ's tie with the tie tack attached. So it's very,
he's so proud. He's such a proud father at this moment.
And nothing like, the first time you're on national television to really just interrupt it all and make it about you.
Of course. That's, why just showing the professionalism.
Right. Yeah.
Right there. The Sandman says, I know why I'm wearing a cup, but why are you wearing a saucer? Danny tells him it's a gift from his daughter Stephanie, and the tie is a gift from his daughter DJ, and he has a baby named Michelle, but you can't wear her gifts. The kids cheer at home on the couch. Danny then says to the Sandman, it must have been hard to be away from your family for 3 months of training. The coach explains that he has been in isolation, in complete training mode, with no outside communication to anyone.
That must have been so easy back then. Could you imagine?
Yeah, no cell phones.
No cell phones, no social media. You could 3 months, you could just go and be like, no one knows where I am.
That sounds like a vacation.
Credit scores weren't even invented yet. Credit scores weren't even invented until 1989. This was an era of you could just go away for 3 months and know nothing. Although in this situation, it turns out that that's not really great. So, maybe that's a cautionary tale.
Yeah. The Sandman says hi to his wife on TV, and Danny says, that is so wonderful that you and your wife are still friends, considering. The Sandman has no idea what he's talking about when Danny is forced to reveal that the Sandman's wife walked out on him while he was at training camp.
Ooh, yeah. That's the downside of that isolation.
Yeah, yikes.
Why? I mean, I guess Danny's sort of forced in. He is sort of forced into it, to having to say it. But you shouldn't have said the whole,
Yeah, he should have kept that to himself. But he's new.
He's new.
He's nervous.
He's nervous.
20 million people.
Okay, got it. That's okay.
So we'll blame it on nerves, I guess.
Okay, got it.
Okay. The coach tries to get the Sandman to focus, but the Sandman says, how am I supposed to fight when I just found out my wife walked out on me? The coach tries to tell him to use the anger. Danny apologizes because he did not know that the Sandman didn't know about the situation. The Sandman is crushed, and he wipes his tears away with the hem of Danny's blazer. Danny tries to wrap up this segment and says, thank you for sharing this beautiful moment with us, and wishes the Sandman good luck on the fight. The Sandman declares that he cannot fight.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
That's not great. But speaking of Danny's blazer, though, did you see that wonderful patch on the...
I saw it, but I didn't look at it.
I don't know what it is. It's got like a sports, and it's got like a broadcast sort of old school looking microphone.
Oh.
And like a thing on, I think it's his official sportscaster blazer.
Yeah,
maybe
almost like a uniform or
yeah,
the official color commentating boxing match.
Right. Well,
announcing.
You have to have a patch to, otherwise you're just it's just black and white commentating, and then
right.
and then that's not you don't get any extra attention for that. But once you get a patch, then it's color commentating. Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
And our producer here says that HBO had those for their boxing guys.
That's
so
what
that's a thing.
That's what I figured. I'm like, it's got to be some sort of like an 80s thing. That's like it makes you look official.
It does. Back in the living room, Stephanie asks why the Sandman is crying, and Jesse tries to convince her that it's because he's happy. But Steph ain't buying it. Stephanie asks Jesse what happens next, and Jesse explains that two guys fight for about 36 minutes, and then they get $6 million.
I mean, basically 36
not a bad
minutes.
Day.
Yeah. Well, depends on if you're losing the fight. If you're losing the fight, it's a pretty rough day.
Yeah, true. Very true. Joey suggests that this fight may be too violent for the girls to watch, when DJ agrees and tells Stephanie, come on, let's go watch reruns of the A-Team instead. Much less violent, right?
So much less. I mean, Mr. T, which, I loved that reference, by the way. But first I was like, the A-Team, yes.
Yeah,
and
love it.
Was it Murdaugh? Am I completely off? Murdaugh, Mr. T. I don't know. I don't know. I used to love that show. So
Okay. I wasn't a regular watcher, so I cannot add any comments to this. But yeah, I do remember Mr. T, though.
No color commentating on the A-Team. Okay.
No. I don't have my blazer, so I can't.
Right. You are wearing black and white. That's, yeah.
Michelle coughs again, and Jesse panics that it's getting worse. Joey calls Michelle's doctor and tells the doctor that Michelle is coughing. The doctor asks, what kind of cough is it? And Jesse and Joey both do an impression of the cough.
Which every parent, by the way, knows the answer to that question. Is it a wet cough? Is it a dry cough?
Or a dry cough.
Is it a barking cough?
Yeah.
Because remember,
Is
that's like a whooping. Is it right. And
croupy whooping cough.
Right.
Yeah.
After like 9 months of having a baby, you're like, oh, it's decidedly a wet cough that's more like you've become a phlegm expert.
It's so true.
It's really, you know more about that than you'd ever like to know. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And what it sounds like. Yeah. So they're new in this. So it was funny. They were like, it's just a cough. I'm like, yep, that sounds typical new parent.
Typical new parents don't know what it is. So the guys try to get Michelle to cough into the phone, but of course she won't. The doctor asks if her nose is running, and Jesse says, of course. And Jesse is so rude to the doctor here. You know, the doctor's like, well, you know, what's coming out of her nose? And he's like, what do you think it is? Diet Cola? Like, he's just very abrasive with this doctor.
Jesse,
he sounds stressed.
He's stressed, and he is, you know, he's a little rough around the edges. So it's Jesse's character arc, if you will, is that he's just kind of a dick sometimes. I mean, I don't know. Like, he's just but he
is. Okay, I didn't want to like say it, but
I'll say
in these early episodes, he
is. Like, he's yelling at babies and doctors, and he
yells at someone every episode. Usually it's his date, but now, you know, there's no girl for him this episode. So now he's yelling at the doctor.
He does that. He's jumping on furniture. He's just a little, he's supposed to be a little, untrained.
Yeah.
Rock and roll edge. You know what I mean? Because if you rock and roll, you put your feet on the couch. Okay, anyway, sorry.
But you're right. This is all part of the arc because he's not like that.
So he's yelling at the doctor.
Yelling at the doctor. The doctor asks if Jesse knows how to take a baby's temperature. And when Jesse replies, of course, you stick the thermometer under the tongue. And then the doctor says, no, you don't. You actually put the thermometer in the other end. And Jesse says, I put it where?
Yeah.
And then tells Joey, the phone's for you.
Which is a joke that wouldn't work today. The thermometer joke. Because you have the little forehead things.
The forehead scanner.
Yeah.
Or the ear thing.
Or the ear thing. The ear thing was
we used the ear thing.
Yeah, or the forehead one. But long gone are the days of taking the baby's temperature that way. I'm really glad I had kids after that.
Me too. Because, I mean...
I've
had to stick other things up there, like when they're babies and they won't take medicine, you got to stick a little suppository up there, and it's just like that is the.
I would have the same
hell.
reaction. I'd be like, "Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Yeah. That's not." No. and then he hands the phone to Joey, though. He's like, "And it's for you.
It's for you."
Yeah.
We're supposed to learn from our own mistakes, but other people's errors can be instructive too. And history is a treasure trove of mishaps and meltdowns that can teach us all. What happened when a zealous scientist tried to inject snow into a hurricane? How did the world's greatest illusionist trick his audience after he had died? Why did the inventor of Mother's Day try to take it all back? And how did we get the story of the Segway boss's untimely death on a Segway so very wrong? I'm Tim Harford, host of Cautionary Tales, the podcast that mines the greatest fiascos of the past for their most valuable lessons. Some stories will delight you, others may scare you, but they'll all make you wiser. Listen to Cautionary Tales on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Get your tickets now
at AXS.com
for our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Coming back to Las Vegas.
2 nights.
September 22nd and 23rd.
1 stage.
At T-Mobile Arena.
Streaming live. Only on Hulu.
This is the iHeartRadio Music Festival.
A weekend full of superstar performances.
Never seen before collaborations.
And once-in-a-lifetime moments you'll have to see to believe.
Don't miss your chance to see
Foo Fighters,
Fall Out Boy,
Kelly Clarkson,
Kane Brown,
Lil Wayne, Lil Durk,
Lenny Kravitz,
Miguel,
Public Enemy,
Sheryl Crow, Travis Scott,
Tim McGraw,
TLC,
30 Seconds to Mars,
and more.
Buy your tickets for our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival now
Before they sell out.
at AXS.com.
That's AXS.com.
Hi, I'm Jerry Loggins, store manager of Buy Well number 3842, and I want to invite you behind the scenes to a section of our store that is strictly employees only.
Victor, you didn't bring your cobra to work, did you?
Oh my God. Okay, A number 1, it's a Burmese python.
This is where we unwind and have a chat about the news of the day.
Looks like Chris Christie might be running.
Honey, if there's one thing Chris Christie ain't doing, it's running.
Employees only. That means no normies. Keep out, buddy. It's just for us Buy Well employees.
He did an insurrection. Honey, it didn't work. You can't hold somebody accountable if it didn't work.
I love that so much. We should apply that to my criminal record.
This is where we talk freely about all the stuff happening in the world.
It's Employees Only, courtesy of Ron Howard, the new podcast from Imagine Audio, Pretty Fast, and iHeartMedia. Listen on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
In the next scene, we are in the bathroom, the mint green carpeted upstairs bathroom. Joey has a clown puppet on his hand that he is using to hold the thermometer. Which,
terrifying.
Yeah, this is why people are afraid of clowns. This bit right here.
I have a friend who's deathly afraid of clowns.
Yeah,
you
they're
can't
creepy.
drive by Circus Liquor. You know, the one with the clown in. She'll like do this when she drives by it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What
Well,
this maybe
this is why. This is the origin of that.
This is the origin story of Michelle's terrifying clown ordeal, which we happened in between, Full and Fuller House, which is why it's part of the reason she didn't return to the clown thing. It was a whole
It's all starting to make sense, She had the naked Fanny in the pilot, and now she's got the thermometer with the clown
now there's
puppet.
a clown.
It all makes sense. They look and see that Michelle does not have a fever, thank goodness. Jesse gives her a high five, and in an unscripted baby moment, Michelle keeps giving him high fives.
So cute. I remember when we would get those little moments of gold. And this was kind of when it started happening. They were a little more, they were older, and you can see them warming up to everybody a little bit more and getting excited when certain people walk in the room and whatever. But this was one of the episodes I definitely noticed that Michelle is babbling a little more and all that.
Oh, it's great. You literally cannot plan or script those moments. They just happen organically.
No, there would be cute moments where she'd Ashley or Mary Kate would giggle or laugh or do something, and you were like, oh my God, it was perfect.
So
it was great. Very cute.
So the guys then determined that no fever means that Michelle has a cold, and the doctor said to use the medicine he prescribed the last time she had a cold. Joey looks in the medicine cabinet for baby medicine and starts listing all the hair products that he finds. Strawberry mousse, apricot conditioner, honey nut rinse. He says, can you believe the girls put all this dumb junk in their hair? And a close-up of a stoic Jesse reveals that those are actually his hair products.
Hey. I mean...
They work.
That
hair,
obviously.
That hair is fantastic.
I need to get some apricot conditioner and honey nut
rinse,
something or other, because I dump a bowl of honey nut Cheerios on my head. I guess I don't know to get some hair like Jesse.
The girls walk in and say the fight is over and Dad will be back on the television soon. Jesse is pouring medicine on a spoon when Stephanie asks, "What are you doing to Michelle?" Jesse says, "Giving her medicine," to which Stephanie replies, "That's not the way Daddy does it." Jesse goes to spoon the medicine into Michelle's mouth, but Joey ends up with medicine on his nose.
Yeah. Giving kids medicine is near impossible.
On screen or off screen. Next scene, we are in the kitchen, right? Yeah, we are in the kitchen. Michelle is now in a high chair. Jesse and Joey are feeding her what looks like applesauce, but they call it pureed chicken. Ugh. And they're doing this from underneath the table. Michelle isn't having it.
Pureed? No, maybe it was pureed chicken.
That's a thing?
Yeah, remember baby food?
Pureed chicken.
Yeah, you'd have the meats, and then you'd have...
And the vegetables, the peas.
Right, and you had to introduce the vegetables first. Right. When introducing solid foods, because otherwise they wouldn't like. But you couldn't do the chicken and stuff till a little bit later.
Maybe it is pureed chicken.
Yeah, it was. It always smelled disgusting. You'd open it up and you're like,
I don't know. God. Yeah, only babies like that, but gross.
I don't even know if they do, but there's just what are their options? What do they know?
Well, Michelle does not like it, clearly. She's not having it. No. And I'm wondering what they put on that spoon to get this Olsen to refuse. Like, she's clearly like pushing it. She's not wanting to put that spoon in her mouth. So
maybe it was actually the chicken.
Maybe it was chicken.
Probably smelled funny.
Gross.
Can you imagine pureed jarred chicken?
Yeah. No, thank you. The girls are watching a small red TV on the kitchen counter. Danny is back on television, and he explains that the Sandman was KO'd in the second round, and maybe he was a little off tonight, but that happens, and the blame should not be laid at anyone's feet. He says it was a blameless defeat. Just then, a bunch of reporters rushed Danny to ask him what it was like to ruin the Sandman's fight.
Led by Brian Cale, by the way.
Led by Brian
Cale.
This
is the reporter asking questions.
This is his shining moment. Brian Cale asks Danny, how does it feel to have personally dealt a crushing blow to a man's career? And Danny replies, the Sandman's or my own? Then the Sandman walks through, escorted by his coach and handlers, yelling, I want Danny Tanner. Danny responds, can't you just feel the love? And Danny walks trepidatiously into the locker room, where Danny tells the television audience, walk with me as I apologize to the Sandman. He says, Sandman, I am really very, very sorry. The Sandman grabs Danny's blazer and says, it's okay. It's not your fault. At least someone has the guts to tell me about my wife. And he asks Danny, do you know why she left? Danny explains that being away from her for 3 to 4 months probably affected their intimacy. The coach then pipes in and says, we don't need her. And the Sandman lectures Coach about all the ways he screwed this up for him. The Sandman grabs Danny's microphone and professes his love to his wife, promising he is going to give up boxing. He then fires the coach and walks out. The coach looks at Danny.
I mean, I'm just blown away by the efficiency of this whole thing.
A lot happens in like 60 seconds here.
Under 60 seconds, and you've got Danny being a therapist. Well, no, first of all, you've got Sandman going angry, gonna kill Danny. Nope, now I'm good.
Forgives him.
Thank you. Forgives him, asks him why his wife left. Danny's like, well, the intimacy. And the coach has his moment, and then Sandman's like, bro, you've ruined my life. You're out of here. I'm not doing this anymore. Fires his coach, goes back to his wife, and tells Danny everything's okay. Like in
60 seconds.
And the final moment of this is really...
Yes, when the coach is so angry at Danny, he says, this whole thing is your fault. He punches Danny in the stomach and then immediately turns, holding his hand in pain, and he walks out. It is revealed that Danny is fine because Stephanie's tie tack protected him from the punch. And the audience goes wild.
Look, I know self-defense when I see it. And I what can I say? Even at a young age, Steph was like, you're going to need this, Dad. You should have this to
Wise
be safe.
Beyond your years.
Brilliant. Yeah. And also, what did I fire that thing in? That it's so hard.
Unbreakable.
Like, what did I make it out of?
It's indestructible, whatever it is.
I think Steph, whatever it is, Steph should start going into the business of creating vests out of it.
Bulletproof vests.
She'd make a killing.
Or not, right? You'd
you know?
save a bunch of people from killings.
Yeah, for sure.
Back in the kitchen, the girls ask if they can stay up until their dad gets home. Jesse sends them to bed, and the girls say goodnight and run upstairs. Joey and Jesse are still trying to figure out how to give Michelle her medicine. Joey tries by making an airplane noise and flying the spoon into her mouth, but Michelle still isn't having it. Joey zooms the airplane spoon one more time, but this time the spoon flies directly into Jesse's mouth. Jesse is stunned, and Michelle is watching him intently. Joey says, smile, the baby's watching you. Jesse fakes a smile, and Joey says she's waiting for her Uncle Jesse to swallow. Jesse forces a swallow, and through a fake smile, he says, this stuff is terrible. This is such a funny moment because Ashley or Mary Kate, whoever it was just staring at him.
Just
laser focus.
Thought it was so hilarious. Yeah.
It was such a great... Oh.
That's what I mean. Like this episode, I feel like you really start to see... the babies bonding with the rest of the cast and like the family vibes really starting, like everyone, even, Jesse and Joey's relationship and Bob and John and like it's starting to, at least I see it. It's starting to feel a lot more like we're settling in to these characters. And it's just funny to watch. Ashley and Mary Kate do it too, and kind of get more excited or be more interested in the people that they're around.
No, that's so great. And I remember how we would call each other by our character names in front of the Olsen twins for a long time, so they wouldn't get confused on why you had two names, Jodie or Stephanie. We would just call each other by our character names because, then if she...
I think, it was once they're like toddlers and they're a little bit older, I think we kind of, everybody, we explained that to them. But it was just for ease of all that. It was
makes sense. And
I mean, I prefer to call you Kimmy Gibbler.
Well, your daughter B still calls me Kimmy. Like to this day, she always calls me Kimmy.
She thinks it's hilarious. Yeah, she calls you Kimmy. Because we used to sort of call each other, hey, Kimmy, whatever. And
she
so,
picked up on that.
It was... she picked up on it now.
I know.
Always Kimmy.
It thrills me to no end every time she says that. So Jesse says he's had enough and this is it. You are going to take this medicine right now. He fills a spoon and she tentatively takes the medicine and they high five. Success.
Right?
In the living room, Danny comes home and collapses on the second plaid couch, which is still so weird for me to see that second plaid couch.
There's somewhere out there is a second plaid couch.
Joey enters the room and says, don't worry, Michelle's going to be fine. She was sick, but now she's better. Panicked, Danny pops up and runs up the stairs to see Michelle.
She's been sick for like 4 hours.
Danny's he's very uptight and concerned about her.
Well, no, I don't mean about Danny, but they're like, she's better now. But like,
they gave her medicine, so maybe they thought that cured her from the cold.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, I'll give you that. That's true, I guess.
In Michelle's room, Jesse is sitting in a rocking chair with Michelle. They're in front of a humidifier that's blowing steam nearby. Jesse sings to her, and Michelle softly sings back. This is just, you're right, this episode's full of these moments.
Again, this episode is full of these moments. These are the moments, like, they started bonding with us. And you see it. It was really sweet because, to watch like those little moments come out. I remember them being babies and, all of our moms changing their diapers and helping out and, it was, and to see like those relationships and those bonds starting to form between all of us. It's how often do you get to go back and watch some of the closest relationships you have in your life sort of develop,
I just got like warm fuzzies. That's so sweet. You're right, though. It's so special. Such a special relationship. And I didn't expect that when we started this podcast. I didn't expect how much I would enjoy watching these episodes and seeing these early bonds forming like in front of our eyes. It's so wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, because I, in a way, it's like I've known all of you guys this whole time anyway. It's sort of, you take it for granted that we've just always been this close and can leave, unhinged videos at each other's birthday parties and the other will understand it. And to watch us from the beginning and see those things starting to happen and remember where some of these stupid jokes came from and these things, it's just, I didn't expect to get all like touchy-feely about it either.
Jodie getting all sentimental. I love it.
What was, the little baby and she had a moment of babbling. It was cute.
Sweet. Yeah. So sweet. Then Danny and Joey enter, and a concerned Danny takes Michelle from Jesse and asks, what's wrong with her? Jesse explains it's just a cold. Danny asks, how do you know? And Jesse says, well, it's a cough and a runny nose, but no fever. Danny says she should have fluids, and the guys proudly say, done. Danny says we should call the doctor, and the guys say, done. Danny asks if she's had her cough medicine, and they say, done. Danny says, well, how about a diaper change? And the guys say, good night, and walk out the door. Nobody wants to change that diaper.
No, that's never fun.
Later that night in the kitchen, Danny thanks the guys for taking such good care of Michelle. Jesse starts to say, we love that little, but suddenly he sneezes, followed by Joey coughing. Germ-spreading phlegm faucet is how he ends up describing.
It's the quickest spreading cold I've ever seen, though.
It spread fast.
It's like a...
Yeah. That's what you get when you're a parent. The kids have germs and then the parents get the germs.
Oh, God, I remember those days.
Danny says he was so upset when he got home, but hearing that Michelle was sick put everything into perspective for him. He realized that what's important are his family and his friends. Joey awkwardly reminds him of his nightmare of an interview with the Sandman. Danny says, isn't this where you guys jump in with a pep talk? Jesse and Joey are not in the mood for a pep talk until Joey starts to feel the pep welling up, coming up through his body. He grabs Danny's shoulders and starts giving him a pep talk, telling him that he's so good at what he does because he cares about more than just scores and stats. You care about people, he says. Jesse and Joey tease Danny and start feinting punches at each other and flicking him on the head. And that is our show. Woohoo! Such a sweet episode. For a boxing episode, it's such a sweet episode. Joey's the voice of reason again, for 2 episodes in a row.
I want Joey to just give me pep talks from now on. But he has to build it up like that in the pep.
Welling up inside of him.
Also, a question. What were they drinking out of a pot?
You're right. What? I put that
I was like, what are you doing? Is it hot chocolate? Is it... Why
is it in a pot?
Not in a... Why? I mean, maybe because Joey's making it, but it just seemed rather unwieldy to pour.
What?
Yeah, I was like, what is... And it was never referenced that it was anything...
it's not like they were making hot chocolate earlier. Yeah, no, why? It must have been some sort of milk, heated up, so maybe hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Very strange.
I have our all-important Everywhere You Look moment.
Your favorite part. Your favorite part. Bring it on,
My
girlfriend.
favorite part. Everywhere You Look this week. Okay, yes, we have Mannequin and Joey matching in the first scene.
Thank
that's
goodness. I missed it last episode.
Thank goodness. But... the Everywhere You Look moment. If you see in that last scene when Joey is pouring something from the pot, or actually maybe when he has his hands on Danny's shoulders, he is wearing not 1, but 2 Swatch watches.
He is?
On his wrist. One is green and one is black. And he's wearing 2 watches, which was such an 80s thing.
To wear 2 Swatch watches.
To wear, remember, Swatch watches, and you'd see that, and it would be 4 or 5 of them on, people would just, that was the thing.
So great.
At least it was in my mind. But yeah, Dave, that's the Everywhere You Look moment. Everywhere you look.
It's a fashion choice. It's not functional.
It's a fashion choice.
It's fashion, not function. Why else would you need 2 watches?
I mean, unless you could wear 2 watches, I guess, if you're keeping, if you're I guess it's, 8 p.m. in London. I mean, I don't know that he's trying to keep 2 different time zones or anything, but I think it's more of an 80s thing. Wacky fashion choice.
I agree.
That, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to have to go back and look.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and look, because it's a brief moment that I noticed it. I was like, 2 watches? But I didn't know if that was it must have been the whole episode.
I wonder if the mannequin was wearing 2 Swatch watches. We can't really see his arm.
If you see the mannequin's hands. Yeah. Mannequin's wearing a hat, but I couldn't read what was on it.
And I noticed, which has been happening for a while, but I just noticed it, that why are Ashley and Mary-Kate only credited in the end credits? They don't get their billing in the opening credits. They're credited at the end of the show, which is odd because they're full-time regular cast members.
Right, but...
Is it because they don't speak lines yet, or we don't want them to know?
Maybe,
I know...
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they don't... Maybe that's where... I don't...
It just seemed odd to me.
No, I don't know. Okay. Hold on.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I feel like a memory's coming back to me. And I seem to remember... that they did not want to make a big thing out of 2 babies playing 1 character.
Okay. So they wanted to hide the fact that it was
And so
twins.
I believe that was why they put it at the end. Because once the show is over, people don't really pay as much attention to what names are being read out on the end credits. Right. And if I remember right, that was kind of in the era where it wasn't I don't know, it just wasn't as that behind the scenes stuff of there's 2 or 3 babies. They kind of wanted it to be there's just 1. Yeah. And if I remember right, this might be a Jeff question.
No, I
for
think
us.
that's a great theory.
But I feel like that was part of it, was that they were trying to kind of not make it a thing that it was 2 babies.
Because this is before the Olsen twins became the Olsen twins.
Yeah, they were not. I mean, they were just 2 little kids. Yeah. So they, I think it was probably also, maybe that's how crediting worked. If you didn't have previous credits, you went at the end. Yeah. But I also think that might have been part of it too, was,
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I remember now. I remember people in later seasons being surprised that Michelle was played by twins.
Yes.
So I think you're right that this was sort of a hidden fact. They were trying to, not hide, but just not draw attention to the fact that Michelle was played by twins. Right. Okay. Interesting. Right. The more you know. Love it.
Yeah. So there we go.
Love it.
Another episode down. Saved by the tie tack.
Saved by the tie tack.
Saved by the tie tack. These episodes just keep getting cuter and sweeter and warmer. And our next episode, season 1, episode 8, is Jesse's Girl.
Yes.
I can only imagine.
Oh boy.
There's going to be making out. There's going to be making out in this one. Buckle up. There's going to be something. Yeah, who knows what's going to happen. There's going to be probably bustiers and big hair.
Bustiers, tight dresses, lots of making out.
Women arriving at the door and just making out with him. It's just going to, who knows what's going to happen. And watch, it's none of that, and it's about something entirely different.
We'll see you next week.
We will see you next week. In the meantime, if you guys want to follow us on Instagram, you can follow us at How Rude Podcast, or you can email us at howrudepodcast@gmail.com. And of course, you can follow along with us, watch these episodes everywhere you look. You can find them, and join us next week for more fun and more behind the scenes memories of our wonderful little Full House days here on How Rude Tanneritos.
See you next time.
See you next time. Am I going to see you in another 14
hours?
Yeah,
for sure. Let's make this a thing. Every 14 hours.
Just every 14 hours.
Sleep for 14 hours, hang out with Jodie for 14 hours.
Okay, perfect.
We're supposed to learn from our own mistakes, but other people's errors can be instructive too. From efforts to control the weather that went disastrously awry to the untimely death of the Segway boss, history is a treasure trove of mishaps and meltdowns that can teach us all. I'm Tim Harford, host of Cautionary Tales, the podcast that mines the greatest fiascos of the past for their most valuable lessons. Listen to Cautionary Tales on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Sonoro and iHeart's My Cultura Podcast Network present Princess of South Beach Season 2.
Did you miss me?
The new season of lies, scandals, and skeletons in the closet.
And I am proud to take office as your first openly gay mayor.
This season, it's all out in the open.
Listen to Princess of South Beach on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, this is Annie.
And Samantha. And we are the hosts of Stuff Mom Never Told You, a podcast about intersectional feminism and all the ways it impacts all of us. And now we're coming out with a book that takes an even deeper look at some of the topics important to us.
We dig into people leading movements like civil rights and the Jane Collective, and we discuss why fictional characters like Princess Leia and tropes like the Final Girl are powerful, and so much more.
Order your copy today of Stuff Mom Never Told You, The Feminist Past, Present, and Future, where books are sold, or get yours at stuffyoushouldreadbooks.com.